I got a phone call on Monday, and it's right in the middle of the weekend of pre-release, the day after, and during our release week. So it's a super stressful time for a card store. We got a lot going on, scheduling events, and blah, 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 promos. But I got a phone call that there was a collection. This guy had dual lands and power, so it got my attention. And it was about 3 hours away, so I drove up there, took a look at the collection. This guy basically had just supreme gas, like amazing cards. Excited to share that with our local community and people abroad across the realm. One quick moment, want to say a few words, if you may, for Sir Black Lotus. Excited that he could be here today. Anyways, jumping right in, a gentleman had a collection of cards. The best thing about this collection is that it wasn't just a collection, it wasn't just a library of cards. He and his friends went to high school in the early 90s, and they referred to this collection as the library. And it makes sense, because instead of buying cards and kind of hoarding your own collection, these guys got together because the game had just come out. These guys were excited about the game, but really cared about it amongst themselves. And so they'd buy cards, buy packs during Legends, Antiquities, Arabian Nights, Unlimited, and they would just store them all in one central location at one of the guys' garage essentially, and that's where they would go to play. So they would go and they'd build whatever decks they want. They had everything that they needed at the time. This is like mid-90s, so they had all the crazy good cards, and they could just have fun together and play and use the library. And if they ever wanted to play somewhere else outside of this garage, they would check cards or check decks out of the library. I sit down, and they're selling this collection for a variety of reasons, and I'm just going through it, and I'm seeing like Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale, you know. I'm seeing Mishra's Workshops, unsleeved, mind you, because they didn't really give a shit about condition. You know, they gave a shit about playing Magic. And I'm going through Black, for example. It's Chains of Mephistopheles, Nether Void, The Abyss, all just unsleeved, just chilling in the box for the last, 15 years. Great time. So I'm really excited to show you some of those awesome pieces that we were able to pick up. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy looking at the cards. I'm going to do some authentication at the end of the video. Have a great day. Love you all. Let's do this. Like I said, it probably took me 7 hours to go through his library, or the library as him and his buddies referred to it as. All this stuff, none of it was sorted in binders, none of it was sleeved, so the best condition on any of this stuff was LP, unfortunately. So for the reserve list items, it definitely impacts the price and what I can pay on it when the stuff's not perfectly clean. So yeah, so that was about 6 hours of it, and then you go through the lot and you make a stack, and we made about a 1K of stuff that, we don't want to get to that yet. Made about a 1K of stuff that was, over the $10 range that I could really be aggressive on. Once we did that, it took me another, just imagine going through a 1K and pricing it out individually and looking up and making sure my offers are aggressive and fair and good for me and good for the seller. But yeah, so you can just imagine, I'm going through Black. This is the first cards I went through, and Hellfire, Gate to Phyrexia, Chains, Vampiric Tutor, Greed, All Hallows Eve, Nether Void, Abyss. It was just one after another, and then I realized, like, I need to check my bank account real quick. This stuff's pretty insane. So the nice thing is a lot of these are reserve lists. A lot of these cards have spiked just recently. I think if he had sold this collection even like 2 months ago, a lot of these have been targeted by investors to, like Pyramids, for example, was like $9 not that long ago. I think that was the one, and now it's like 200. And people are really investing in reserve list cards, and so he ended up selling at a pretty good time for getting good value out of the stuff. So, and here's the bombs. So to start off, we've got a library. If we look at condition on the back of a lot of these, I mean, you can tell that they're played on the edges and might have some surface wear. But I've had a few of these heavy hitters in the store before. Definitely have had a full set of power, and but the Arabian Nights and Legends cards, you just don't see these very often. Unless you have a big vintage community, this stuff just isn't walking off the street. So Tabernacle, 2 Tabernacles, 2 Bazaars, 2 Candelabras. I mean, imagine having this guy as your friend when you're a Magic player in like the 90s. You just, hey, can I borrow 4 workshops and build the deck, and that was it. I mean, they had everything. It was this tight group of guys that were just all about the game. He didn't have anything in sleeves. Like he played all of his duels, all of Tabernacles, Bazaar of Baghdad's, straight unsleeved rifle shuffle. and it was about the game for him and his friends. That was what was important to him about Magic, was being able to play and build these creative decks. I mean, he was talking about decks he had with, you know, 30 lightning bolts and plague rats and stuff, and they would just get crazy ideas and go off and go for it, and they could just check cards out of this library and have a great time. So next to that, here are the 42 duels. Nothing crazy exciting about these. They're all quite played. I mean, if you look at, see, we got this Underground Sea, the edging super black. For me, as a store that has a burgeoning legacy community, I'm fine with things being in pretty bad condition. So yeah, that is the land. So this will all be hitting our Facebook page first before I post it on online anywhere. I'm gonna try to offer some pretty incredible deals on the pieces and a lot of the reserve list items. So stay tuned there. Like us on Facebook if you want to be involved in seeing some of that information. I'm also in the process of buying and authenticating 3 Lotuses, including in addition to some more power items. So if you're interested in any of that, please subscribe to the channel, like our Facebook page. I want to make sure that the people that have supported the store and supported me the last couple of years get the first chance to participate in getting some of those unique items. And messages, if you want to send a message directly, just send it to the email address. The link will be below. What else do you want to see? You know, authentication. You know, when I get a collection like this, I mean, I can talk about finance and the numbers and really drill down on some of that, or like I said, more authentication videos. So if you want to see any more of that, let me know. And real quick, before I jet here, I'm gonna do authentication of the library and the 2 power pieces for a little quick authentication minute. So for the authentication, actually, I went through my box of fakes I have over here, which I think every store should have, and it's basically just a freaking pile of fakes that we've recovered. At this point, I'm good enough at it to where I can usually tell pretty quickly, but it's really nice if someone is questioning the authenticity of a card, I can show them what a fake one looks like and how theirs is more like the non-authentic card than the authentic one. So for the purposes of this, I went ahead and pulled out, I had a Candelabra and the Time Walk and Timetwister that are all not real. So when we're looking at it, we can use it to compare what's you know, what we're not looking for with what we're looking for. So starting with, we can do the Tabernacles here. I would use white gloves on something like this, honestly, but the LP nature of it to begin with means I'm not going to hurt this thing much. I mean, you can even see the rosettes just looking with the naked eye on this thing. That's how you know it's solid. But if we're going to be looking at it through a loop, there we go. Got our legend set symbol right on top of the ink. We've got an ink pattern, we've got coloring, and if we look at our text, awesome. Ink pattern, second layer of ink, the feel's fine. I've already done light tests, so when I was purchasing these were obviously the biggest cards in the lot, so I went through and did all the standard authentication. I mean, everything was fine. There was maybe one proxy, and he identified it and brought it to my attention, so I wasn't incredibly worried about the integrity of the collection, but I did go through basically all the pieces over $100 with a loop just to make sure that they checked out. So we've got Timetwister. This one was pretty beat up. I mean, you can see the edging. We've got discoloration, normal looking wear. I mean, this is what a card looks like when you don't put a sleeve on it, guys. So sleeve it up. It's also got this weird tear. It's not even a tear. It's like a crease on the top corner up here. I was having a hard time to see earlier if it was a tear or if it was just like a bad bend at one point in time. So let's look at this thing under a loop. So yeah, it looks like it was just honestly a bad bend. Now with this card, we're going to check the mana symbols, and then you would do just a field test. You would do a light test to be sure. We've got a nice good second layer of ink, rosettes, ink spotting, all that good stuff. So if we're looking at a fake Timetwister, this is a wannabe beta Timetwister. You can tell as soon as you feel this card, it's got this like waxy surface. You can even you can see the wax in the shot, you know, just that matte coating, and it doesn't feel great. Obviously fake, but one thing we can just tell right away, let's say we look at those set symbols. All right, so you can tell there's no second layer of ink. It was in one print run, so pretty obvious. So most fakes are going to be that way. Time Lock, I don't even really need to show you the fake. It's the same printing process. This guy, just like, what did they do? Just the yellowing, the black edging. You know, something like this is going to be, it's going to be really hard to move, except to the player that's getting into vintage. So even then, like, people like the faces to look nice, and with this black up here, there's really nothing I can do to that, and I wouldn't want to bleach it or anything. So you just is what it is. You sell it as either MP or HP based on the condition. But we can take a look at our set symbol, and sweet, second layer. Cool. And the candelabra, also same printing process on this fake, but let's take a look at it. I mean, if this was in a sleeve in a vintage tournament, would someone call judge? I think so. It looks too clean to begin with, but it doesn't have the, I don't know, like that waxy look. I mean, I don't know, they got the colors pretty spot on. Ink pattern looks decent, but the clarity in the text is just really, really good for like the title up here. So I think there's a good chance they might be called out for this, but yeah, same printing process as the other ones there. So looking at our candelabra we just picked up, it's one of two. So if you look at the surface, you see really texture, not the waxy feel. It's got some wear on the edges, some surface wear, kind of slight, but we're just gonna check for, we can even look at our antiquity set symbol here. That is what you want to see, ladies and gentlemen. Nice, solid black ink. Woo! I just want to look at the art on this thing, see what it looks like. Purdy. Even blown up and pixelated, this thing looks awesome. So there you have it. So that's just some of the tests I would do when buying a collection like this. If you have some proxies and some bad ones to show, just because you never, I mean, it's nice to have. I went up there with antiquities cards, with unlimited cards, also legends cards, so that way we'd have some sort of basis of what we are comparing it to. And I was lucky, there was no issues, the whole collection was fine. I mean, you can tell these guys are really passionate about their craft and their game, and it was cool to be a part of it. So thanks for watching the authentication part.